After studying about the seed germination test, we are now going to discuss about different tests which are carried out to calculate the moisture in the seeds, which we call them as simply seed moisture test. So moisture is one of the important factor when storage or germination is considered. So here different tests are carried out at the laboratory level, which are broadly categorized into drying without heat method, or what we call it as lyophilization method, or reversibility methods. Even the very simple tests are there, like hot air oven tests, which are commonly carried out. And last, that is moisture meter, is used to determine the moisture in the seeds. So we will see one by one all these methods which are used nowadays. So first method, that is drying without heating. So here we are not going to heat the seeds by using oven or any other thing. Just the seeds, they are kept at normal temperature conditions, but desiccator is used like phosphorus pentaoxide, so that moisture is absorbed from the seeds. You can keep the seeds by weighing previously, and whatever difference we are getting afterwards, after desiccation, we can make the count of the moisture percentage in the given sample. It is very simple method, widely used. Second method, what we call it as lyophilization method, where instead of hot air, we are going to use cold temperatures, that is freezing temperatures. In freezing temperatures, we are going to keep the seed samples, where gradually they will lose the moisture, and again we are going to take the differences in the weights, that is when we have kept the seeds for freezing, and after we are getting the constant weight of them. So frequently, periodically, we are going to weigh them, and when we get constant weight of those seeds, then the difference of the previous fresh weight and now what is the weight after giving out the moisture, we are going to count the difference, we are going to convert it to moisture percent. So that is cold method, what we call it as lyophilization method. It is also used at so many laboratories. Next method, that is reversibility methods, where this cold method, that is lyophilization method, will see about the third method, that is reversibility method, where again there are two subtypes as red drying method and Kalm-Fisher titration method. So we will see one by one. The first method, that is a red drying method, where the seeds, they are dried in particular temperature, means we are going to mention the temperature, we are going to record the temperature of drying as well as duration of the drying is mentioned over there. That is temperature and duration of drying is considered over here, so that weight loss is due to removal of moisture or it is due to decomposition, that can be made clear by this. So it is also useful method, or what we call it as accurate method. Next method, that is Kalm-Fisher titration. So it was introduced by Carl Fisher. So in honor of him, we are calling it as Carl Fisher titration method, where the seed samples, they are extracted in the solvents like methyl alcohol, so that whatever moisture is there, it is taken out, and that solution which you are getting now after extraction, that you are going to titrate against special reactant using special indicator, and that was introduced by this scientist. So it is very accurate method and it is followed by so many laboratories. That is Carl Fisher titration method. Next is hot air oven method. Name itself suggests that the hot air drones from the oven, they are used for drying or removing the moisture from the seeds. So very easy method it is. It can be used by anyone. Even at our laboratory conditions, the experiments, they are carried out by this method only, where two types are used depending on the seeds. So when the seeds are very small, which are having low moisture percentage in them, then in that case we are going to use low temperature treatments. And when the seeds are larger one and if they are having more moisture in them, we are going to use higher temperatures to get the difference between the dry and moist seeds. So here the high temperature treatment, that is round about 130 degrees Celsius, is used for the seeds which are having high percentage of moisture, like rice, that is paddy, which is having round about 13% of moisture. So there you can use this method, where 130 degrees Celsius is the temperature, where you can do plus or minus 2 degrees, and you are going to keep the seeds for 2 to 3 hours at this, so that they will lose the moisture. You can take the difference. Here you are going to use the samples which are grind one. You are not going to take directly the seeds. You are going to grind them with the laboratory mills. Very small mills, grinding mills are available. There you are going to prepare the sample, that is flour, after milling, and different size of that flour granules, they are also maintained over here. That is, some coarse size milling is done with the moist seeds, and very fine milling is done with the smaller seeds. And the lower temperatures, that is of 103 degrees Celsius, is used for those seeds which are having low moisture contents, like the seeds of onion, for example. We can use this method. So those samples, that is after milling, the samples, they are kept in crucibles, and those crucibles which are previously weighed, weight of it is recorded with the lid, and the crucibles with sample, they are kept in the oven at particular temperatures for particular duration. That is, for higher temperature we are going to use 2 to 3 hours treatment, while for the lower temperature you can extend up to 10 to 12 hours even. So for after that period, you are going to remove those crucibles from the oven, and after cooling them to normal room temperature, you are going to weigh them again, and that difference between the weights, that is going to give you the moisture. You are going to convert it to 100, that is the percent moisture you are going to determine from those seed samples. Next is moisture meter method. So there are various types of moisture meters which are available in the market. In market, different types of moisture meters are available, even up to the digital moisture meter. That is, there is universal electrical moisture meter is there, which is used for so many years, as well as Marconi moisture meter is there. Even you are going to use the digital micrometer for measuring the moisture percentage in the seed samples. So these are all methods. It is, we have taken an account of all these methods which are useful in calculating the moisture from the seed samples before using them for sowing or before determination of their maturity. Next, what about the vigor of the seeds? So it is the strength, or it is the energy, or the speed at which the seeds, they sprout, they emerge out, what we call it as germination. So that vigor is very important. The vigorous seedlings, which are healthy one, they are fast growing seedlings. So vigor is also one of the important factor when character of seeds are considered. So here we are going to determine the vigor of the seeds by different methods, where some direct tests are there. Even we can go for indirect tests for that, and also seedling growth can be used to determine this. Even you can go for seedling length, then mass, or what we call it as weight, or even we can go for vigor indices for length as well as for mass. So all these methods when discussed now, where the first method, that is direct test, very simple method it is, that is brick gravel test. Brick is grind, that is brick pieces are made into gravel, coarse material from brick, and on that you are going to germinate the seeds. You are going to cover the seeds of gravel. Normal bricks which are used for the building materials. So they are made into gravel, coarse sand-like particles, and in that you are going to germinate the seeds. So here the observation is that when the seeds, they are germinating in those gravel particles, there are so many obstacles to emerge out from that. So here the seeds which emerge out first, they are the vigorous. They are having more vigor. They are healthy seeds. So they will grow fast. Second test, that is pepper piercing test. It is also very much similar to the first one, and again it is simple method where you are going to keep the seeds for germination and you are going to cover it by moist papers, that is moist blotting papers you are going to cover with, so that when the seeds, they germinate, the vigorous seeds or the healthy energetic seeds, they will grow fast and they will pierce through the paper and they will emerge out through the paper. So it is also very simple test for vigor of the seeds. Next, some indirect methods are there. That is first count method, the normal count of germination, that is which seed emerges first during germination process, and that is first count method. Second, speed of germination, that is when we are keeping some amount of seeds for germination, from that the seed which grows fast, that is speed, is considered as the vigor of the seed. Next, seedling growth rate can be measured. That is the seed which emerges first. Obviously, it is more in all the growth parameters if the vigor is maintained through the seedling growth. So that is also one of the parameter. And one more parameter you can go for, that is length of the seedling. That is, you can measure directly the shoot length or even the root length of the seedling. They are also one of the measure. You can even go for ratio of root to shoot in them. Next, you can go for measuring the dry weights of the seedlings. So you can take a bulk of 10 seedlings or if available more seedlings, and you are going to convert it to per seedling on an average. So the dry weight, which is accumulation of organic matter, that is also indication of the vigor of that seed. So obviously the more vigorous seedling will be having more dry weight in that. Here also we are going to use same method, that is by gradual over drying up to we are getting constant weight. That is the final weight of the seedling we are taking as the dry weight. Next, you are going to calculate the vigor index length. That is, you are going to correlate seedling length with the germination percentage. What we call it as vigor index length. Even you can go for vigor index mass. That is, along with germination count, you are going to correlate mass of the seedling, that is weight of the seedling. You are going to correlate. We call it as vigor index mass. So all these methods, they are generally used for testing the vigor of the seed. Then about the last character or factor about the seed, that is viability. So if we want to test whether the seeds are viable or not, very simple test is performed at the laboratory level, that what we call it as tropical tetrazolium test, where tetrazolium chloride that is used to test the viability, where the living cells, they give reduction reaction with this dye, giving a red color that indicates the viability of the seeds. So very quick method it is, where the tetrazolium is used to test the viability of the seeds. So with this we conclude the chapter seed. Oh, thank you.